Alright, we are recording, continuing in Far Cry 3, though this is a map clearing. Because I want to keep... Actually, hang on, and I know it doesn't... how do I... Yep. Okay. I did figure out how to add notes in the Steam overlay. It's on the... When you click on the game, so you have its page, like not the store page, but the client page. You scroll down far enough, it's there. I don't like that. I wish they were higher up. But yeah, so continue clearing signature weapons and animal hunts. Next signature weapon requires 5 Trials of the Rockyat, so that's what we're going to work on. By the way, I am very tired. I did not sleep well last night. So, yeah. Just saying that, so... If I get rambling badly or something, I mean, it's like, yeah, that's why. So that's one. Why am I over here? I think I just finished over here. Can I? Huh. Alright. Well, yeah, let's just head down there. Although, wait. Is there... Okay, so there's a... Oh, no. Okay. What? Oh, it's the blue. That's right. I knew it was deer. I just didn't remember the color. So yeah, I'll come down here, grab that, and come up here. I'm going this way. Really just 2 things that I have in my notes to talk about, which is fine. It has been an exhausting week, and as I said, I didn't sleep well. Let's start with the one that's actually like news and not just me giving commentary on something I think is kind of stupid. Because that does happen. Microsoft put out a preview SDK for agility, which I'm not entirely sure what it, as I said, exhausting week. It's like part of, it at least relates to DirectX. And this new preview has 3 features in there. One is... And do I need... I know there's water between, but is it a... Okay, yeah, so cross here is most convenient. I think what this technically was might be a little bit outside of DirectX 12 because it spans a few things, but like one of the things was to add AV1 encode support, sort of. It seemed like it was more so they added support to an API, such that Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA GPUs that all have AV1 encoding, you could use this API to just call that up instead of like, oh, I have to do the AMD method, oh, I have to do the NVIDIA method, oh, I have to do the Intel method. No. This would handle it for you. Would handle the different ways to call those methods for you, which would be nice. Yep. There was also a thing that was... It is still chasing me. Man, this kills things quick. Yeah, take care of that. I might as well. I can sell it. Can't remember the name of it. Another thing. I'm not getting to the big thing for it yet. I'm saving that for last. But something kind of similar where it would help with easing certain things for Wave. Well, I'm sorry, not Wave was in there. But matrix multiplication. Which, that's the whole tensor. Tensors are different from matrices, but they to look at them, they appear similar. I just want to try to explain this. So they also have something in there that would help with taking advantage of that hardware that is on NVIDIA GPUs, Intel GPUs, yeah, because XeSS is using a kind of matrix multiplication in there. And I don't remember what AMD has, or if that's coming. There is some level of matrix multiplication, I just don't remember what. But in any case, matrix multiplication is used for various kinds of machine learning. Not all kinds. There's plenty of kinds that don't use it, but some that do. So like the image analysis kind of stuff, where it's like trying to recognize that is a dog, not a cat. That kind of stuff. That kind of training, I'm pretty sure it does involve matrix multiplication, but there are other kinds. Like, I don't think genetic models. I don't think those use it, and that's just a different kind of AI. And so that's big. The other thing, though, like the thing that's like, ooh, this is interesting, is okay. Come on, there we go. Come on. Yeah, something called work graphs is the other thing. That is definitely neat. I was tempted to, but didn't, because it seems a little different. But I was tempted to make a reference to oh, yeah, also something there. To tessellation, which is kind of sort of related. Well, conceptually is kind of sort of related. It is not itself related. But it is one of those technologies that in theory could improve the performance efficiency of GPUs substantially if taken advantage of. That's always the question. It really is like not going where the crosshair is. There. Alright. What I don't recall is if you can, like, just restart and, have that count. But in any case, 1. So work graphs. Well, here, let me explain tessellation first, because that, even though, as I did say, it is different, oh, I can also come down here. Let's actually do that one. And then like just work my way around. Oh, and also, actually, I just realized, are there any artifacts around here? Okay, so there's one on my way, so grab that. Yeah. Okay. So tessellation is a kind of special GPU acceleration. I'm trying to remember what might have been actually doing the anti-aliasing research that I was doing that came up. But anyway, the idea is, or it might have been the frustrum thing after. Anyhow, so like these objects, every vertex on these objects, the CPU has to track. And it's the CPU that tells the GPU where they all are. It's not the GPU. It's the CPU. This is part of the draw call stuff. What tessellation allows for is the CPU can basically say, here's the object, and it'll include some of the vertices, but the GPU will get other information as well that will allow it to actually add in vertices. That's how the tessellation works. In the whole, if you ever see, like, I think, was it Heaven? Oh wait, no, I have all the relics I need. One of the the things. One of the Unigen benchmarks does a very nice job of showing tessellation to the extreme. It was like a statue of a dragon, and it's like, normally, yeah, that looks like a dragon, but if you turn on tessellation and vary the degree to it as well, it gets these massive spikes on and make it look a lot more intimidating. Well, all that additional shaping there, it's the GPU adding in those vertices, not the CPU. So that's actually what tessellation allowed for, was it meant that the GPU would do more of that work than the CPU. So it wasn't something like, oh, we're just improving graphics fidelity. It's like, no, you could have achieved that. It's just the CPU would have been significantly bogged down. Actually, now I kind of wonder how much it's needed today, because CPUs are so much more powerful. And you've got the likes of Vulkan and DirectX 12 that you can take advantage of to further improve the efficiency of the CPU. Anyway, but it is that idea of taking work that previously were... Oh, crap. Oh. Probably C... No, E. It's a good thing. I, discovered the other day that I actually, painfully one of the switches in the Pi 50 build I needed to replace. It wasn't always working, so. Two of those, and just, because I know Q is mapped to that at least. Pick those up. Anyway, yeah, I found that the one I had in E wasn't working. So I actually moved it to F, and then I saw F wasn't working, so it's like, oh, it's a switch. I thought it was just the connection in the hot swap sockets I installed was having some issue. Ah! Take that, you overgrown tabby. Anyhow, so yeah, as I was saying, tessellation has that same kind of, instead of the CPU needing to do the work, putting more of it on the GPU. Oh yeah, and that's why I was just having the aside of, I wonder how much tessellation is needed today because of how much more powerful CPUs are. But it is also true, in my opinion, that we don't really see tessellation... What the heck? Hang on, there we go. Being as used to. Like, I remember with Metro Exodus, when I was doing the performance analysis there, the graphics card analysis, when I went in and was trying to spot where the tessellation was, it was incredibly minimal. So it is... So at least in that, it seemed we have reached a point where we're able to get all this detail without needing, well, with just CPU performance. I'm guessing I'm not going to find this. Let's just head out then. Let's actually fast travel down there. There. I know I don't need them, so... What work graphs do is it allows a shader, which basically every single computation a GPU does is a shader computation. That's the simplest way. Ooh, that should go nicely, because this thing's a monster. Yeah, so instead of... Typically, although apparently DirectX 12 does have some capabilities, this is like just to another level. But traditionally, like for this game, definitely for this game, it's old enough now. This might be DirectX 11, but I think it's more likely 9. Because 10 was like never used. I mean, it was, but not as much as it could have been. Maybe not as much as it should have been. Although, actually, no. Now that I think about it, 10 was fine. It was 10.1 that like killed everything. It's like 10 was gaining momentum. Then they put out 10.1 that added some stuff, but it was like so poorly done, and some of it was just kind of stupid, according to some people, that like killed the whole momentum around DirectX 10. Anyway, so right, how this game works is the shader does something and gets a result. Now the shader doesn't necessarily have all the work done. It's not like, every single thing. So it's like, it may not have an output to the function, I guess is how I'm actually trying to put that. It does something, but it doesn't necessarily produce an output. Let's say, as just an example that may work. Son of a bitch. Get these dingoes off me. I think they are dingoes. Okay. At least they've stopped for the time being. Once it finishes that work, and by the way, that shader would have been called by the CPU. It's just the GPU does it. The GPU finishes that shader work, and so it reports back to the CPU that may then look at the results and be like, okay, now do this. Run this other shader. So it has to just go back to basically be told, yes, do step 2. What? Son of a bitch! You're just gonna die this way. I'm gonna be... What the hell? I'm gonna be getting ammo. When I get there, so... Ha. That is not a dingo, then. What work graphs will allow is the GPU, a shader being run on the GPU can actually trigger an additional shader. Can actually send the command, hey, start this one. I'm trying to remember what they used for the terms. It was like consumer and producer. Well, producer would be like the shader. Consumer is the one that would then be started by the producer, but a consumer can be a producer. So you could just have this long chain of them. One thing interesting that they did, that I did see some mention to, because I also looked at not only the Microsoft thing right up on it, but also AMD on GPU Open had some stuff. Where actually is the ammo? Son of a bitch, it isn't providing any. Or at least not here. Might be around. Anyway. Or maybe it was some... I don't remember. It's not specifically important. But basically, that this... Even though that may sound like, oh, man, this is going to get complicated. Actually, it sounded like it is something that could simplify code. That the current workarounds to this problem of having a shader trigger another shader, I'm sorry, there's gotta be ammo around here, right? That is enough of a I knew it was somewhere. Is enough of a hassle that they that by basically coming up with an official feature for it that should alleviate some stuff there and make it more efficient. There's also talk about oh, there's one. About it being more memory efficient as well. Better utilizing cache. and also saturating, and this is something I do understand, definitely, better saturating the compute, the internal threads to the GPU. And that I definitely understand, because Vega 64, which, by the way, continues to be a frickin' beast. I mean, it's ridiculous how that thing compares, at least in some games when I collect data. Specifically, The Witcher 3 is what I've been looking at recently. And other things have been coming up slowing that down, but I am working on the writing of it. I need to do one more video. It's going through the frame time data, though. And then just, like, finish writing up sections for every GPU. That's... I'm getting that. Ooh, there it is. So, that is still coming, is actively in progress. So, not this week, the previous week, I did need to get some other work done. Anyhow, yeah, one of the things that Vega 64 had issues with, and Vega 50, it was one of those things where Vega 56 actually competed with the 64 better than it should have. And it's because, even though the 56 had fewer shader cores on there, so fewer of the actual things that do the work, occupancy on Vega was so often so low. Basically, games were not being optimized for taking advantage of Vega's architecture, that Vega 56 could match the Vega 64 while using less power. And if you could get the memory running faster, like on the level of the 64, you actually would see it like going toe-to-toe with Vega 64, despite being lower power, a cheaper part, all that. I mean, yeah. It was quite a thing back then, and part of the reason why a lot of people made fun of Vega. So the idea that, hey, we can take better advantage of this stuff, it's like, yes, if only we had this a while ago. Oh. Okay. This is not going to be easy. I mean, hunting sharks is just never easy. I think it's the simplest way to put that. Great. I got 2 I need to deal with. I think there was 1 or 2 other things, but yeah, it was basically a very, and here's another one. There. Oh, I do not like this idea, but I'm still going to do it. Come on. Come on. I am hitting the button. There we go. We finally figured out the 3-inch step. Okay. I was really hoping that was it because of how many arrows it was eating. The heck? Alright, it's dangerous, but it does seem like that guy is mainly going away. And I know this is also kind of dangerous what I'm doing. Okay, I think that is all I should do. And then use this to get back, because there are still sharks here. But yeah, so hopefully we will see that work graph thing used. But then it's also, at the same time, I don't have high hopes because there's so much technology that it's like, hey, I hope they use this too because it'll help with performance and such. And it's like, and we're not using it, so I keep going on about that because it keeps being annoying to me. Where to next? Trial the Rakyat, right there. I'm gonna have to go up. The other thing I have is just one of those... The internet being the internet, I guess is one way to put it. That somebody wrote a piece trying to insinuate anti-consumer or bad faith, depending on how you want to put it, how you want to look at it, actions on the part of AMD because they're like, oh, look at all these AMD-sponsored titles that are only using FSR, Fidelity FX Super Resolution, that they're not using DLSS. But look at all these DLSS games that support both, or NVIDIA-sponsored games that support both. It's like, So, let's actually... And I'm not saying this as a, we have to defend AMD. I'm saying this as a, the premise is stupid. Because FSR works on everything. Well, most everything. The GTX 770, it doesn't work. But I can turn it on even the 980. Okay? It goes back to the 980. I can also turn it on in the RX 580, which would be the RX 480 as well. So it works on practically every GPU you'd expect somebody to still be running today. DLSS does not. So I'm sorry, if I'm a game developer and it's like, if it's AMD sponsored, that means potentially getting AMD money, very possibly also getting access to AMD engineers, and they help with implementing, one way or the other, help with implementing FSR, and it's like, this runs on everything. It looks good, provides this performance benefit. Why would I invest the time and effort to get DLSS working? It's like, I've already achieved my goals. Why would I bother with more work? I mean, it's not like let's do some more optimization. It's like, no, it's implementing a different version of the same technology that's going to be limited to only a specific subset of GPUs. I mean, it's like, why? That doesn't make sense to me. I do wonder if there is a conspiracy going on there. It's just hey, implement FSR first, and then they implement it first, and it's like, why are we going to bother with DLSS? Because it is an unreasonable ask when you actually stop and think about the two technologies. That's like, if you get FSR in there, what is the need for DLSS? But I wouldn't be surprised if the NVIDIA-sponsored games, NVIDIA might just be like, yeah, you can implement FSR, because it helps them too, because don't forget, it runs on the GTX 16 series, 10 series, and older. Well, until this Kepler 700 series. But still, 900 series, 1000 series, and 1600 series all benefit. So, is that really all these are? Huh. But yeah, I have a feeling that whoever wrote it is either just trying to just get noticed by, like, having a hot take that's really stupid, or it might be somebody that just believes that, NVIDIA is the better, more ethical company, and how dare AMD do something that might undermine that. And also to anyone saying, oh, but DLSS is better, it's like, I'm sorry, I've been looking at this stuff. It's not. It's like, The Witcher 3 supports FSR 2, DLSS 2 and 3, but I wouldn't use 3. The frame generation stuff is just not necessary for what I do, is in fact something I shouldn't use. it would cloud any performance data to use DLSS 3, the frame generation stuff. Same thing with FSR 3, by the way, whenever that comes out. And if I have a game that supports that, I still would not use that in performance. Yeah, I just wouldn't. Unless it is a, hey, every GPU can run this. Let's see what it does for GPUs that are struggling, really struggling. But anyway, yeah, in The Witcher 3, when I was doing the experimentation with FSR 2 and DLSS, it was 6 1/2 dozen the other. It legitimately was. They tuned them both very well, by the way, such that quality. Well, hang on, what was it? Quality, balance, performance, and ultra performance. The presets for both of them that have the same name were giving me the exact same performance, which is awesome. So it's like you don't need to be like, oh, well, at least at 1920 by 1080. That is important to specify for this whole conversation. Son of a bitch. There we go.
Don't let me die.
There we go. Got that last one in there. Huh. Didn't quite make it, but that's okay. I just need to do them. I don't need to actually, like, get the best at them. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how it was between them. Oh, another one right up there. I want to say it was FSR did a better job with temporal stability. So, like, I would see less shimmering and such with FSR than with DLSS. I do remember that is the case, actually. And it was really annoying because even when the image, like, The Witcher 3, when it's paused, is still rendering it behind the menu. And you can see most of it, too. So it's like, even paused, which is the ideal situation for these temporal methods. It is ideal. There's shimmering, there's temporal aliasing, technically, with DLSS. What the hell, man? I mean, come on. And the ghosting was also different between them, and I'd still give the edge there to FSR. Trying to remember what else. But it was in some of the finer details, DLSS usually, I want to say, did a better job preserving. But it is 6 1/2 dozen the other. Which is it that you care about more? Shimmering? That to me, I dislike that more than some of the detail being better preserved. But even then, it wasn't all. I spotted one area. It was actually on Roach's saddle, where DLSS completely blurred it. I mean, it was so bad, I actually, during the video, took the screenshot, opened it up in GIMP. I was already using GIMP to do some screenshot comparisons. Put it in there and, like, just started using the blur tool, and it's like, yep, that looks similar. I have no clue. I have no idea why it was like that. But absolutely was just blurred. Now, true, it was only one spot. But it still is that's a problem. That's like legit bug level bad. Sorry, I need to get a drink of water. But I just mean that it, bug level bad, as in there was, like, no reason it should be like that. Okay, what's the weapon? Oh, nice. What the? Oh. And this thing is slow. Alright, there. I cannot. Okay, come on, come on. Oh, okay. And I missed. And I died. I think I do need to try it again. Anyhow, like I need to actually complete it, not just die during it. But yeah, so I mean, I'm sorry, the people that, yeah, I'm being critical of the people that like, oh, DLSS is better. It's not. It really depends on the game and the specific implementation. And you are an idiot if you're just blindly saying one is better. I mean, I'm sorry, you have to actually do the tests yourself and determine if it is better or not to your eyes. Because when I was doing it with The Witcher 3, I determined that personally, I think FSR looked better. It's not to say that there aren't games where DLSS would look better. That's to say that in that one, it is, and I will not blindly say this is better than that, simply because this is that. Come on. Another helicopter. I don't know where. There it is. Aw, man. You can't run while reloading that. Damn it. Another one? I think I got two. Come on, there we go. Yeah, reload the damn thing. Come on, there you go. That's fine. So yeah, I consider the whole premise there as flawed because it is assuming that there is equality between DLSS and FSR in terms of implementation and value to a developer, and there isn't. And also, yeah, somebody did also, I saw, make the point. Some people are like, oh, but DLSS, it's just, so easy to implement. It's like, and some point out, yeah, that's only if you're basically using Unreal Engine without making any modifications to it. I mean, the plugins, they are definitely going to make it easier to implement, but it still is not necessarily trivial to implement. It's like, also don't forget, back when FSR2 actually came out, they had a lot of developers talking about how, yeah, we were able to implement that in a day. And that was FSR2, not just FSR1, though the same was also said of FSR1. And I'm pretty sure someone was saying that, yeah, DLSS takes longer to implement than FSR. And it's like, we can do this and also have greater control over how a lot of it behaves. I mean, they are not of equal value, and I could definitely see it being purely a oh, hang on, let me grab my shotgun. I don't want to use that one. Whip it. There. Yeah. I mean, I guess another way to put it that also can kind of transition to another thing I can talk about just to fill time is, like, different AV1 encoders, because I've been doing more work with that, and it is wild, the difference between some movies. Like, as I've been continuing to put stuff onto the media server, pulled off recently, I think it was 5 movies in total. And checking them, I did not realize I would open up. But checking them... Oh, yeah, that's right. Iron Man 1 and 2, V for Vendetta, Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight. Iron Man 1 and 2, when I tried some 10-second sequence, I know 10 seconds isn't much, but it gives me some guidelines. With AV1, specifically the Ravel encoder, it was like, I was seeing like 6 to 8 megabit. It was nuts. Especially since with X265, I can easily set a maximum bitrate limit that keeps it much lower. I can keep it under 3, well, approximately. It doesn't necessarily follow that perfectly, but it tries. But V for Vendetta, Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight, though The Dark Knight it's currently going at 2.3 megabit. But V for Vendetta, I was seeing like 1 megabit. And Batman Begins, I was also seeing around 1 megabit, 1.2. I mean, it was substantially better there. So it is, it's very conditional. And I know that isn't it, but it's still, I should eliminate all those that I find so they can't attack me. I am hearing something. Come on, wait, there it is. There's gotta be a snake around here. Because nothing else would be making that noise and just continuing to make it. It would have come and attacked me already. There's a big cave here. I'm definitely going to check that. But yeah, I mean, it completely depends on what the source material is in that case. But it's also like I use Ravel. I don't like SVT. The SVT encoder would be easier to implement. But it's easier to use because it's, well, sort of. It would be more convenient because it's a hell of a lot faster. But I also find it to be an inferior encoder. Like, I go down to a lower bitrate, and it's like I can set the max bitrate, but it's going to be pegging against it when I'm trying to get in the same quality level. I find it to be less efficient, less bit efficient. And the speed, it's like, well, it doesn't seem all that... this is it, by the way. I just accidentally happened upon it. Perfect. Come on. There it is. Yeah, I mean, everybody is focused on SVT, but it's like, I find Ravel to be more what I actually want out of this stuff. Is it wallet? It is, okay. It gives me the it's not great performance, it's still kind of slow, but it is... I'm trying to figure out where it was I came from. It'd have to be like up in this direction. Just based on the alignment of different things, that's probably not it, but... I have to go in that direction anyway, though. Yeah, so it's always, you can just figure out what works best for your situation. Go ahead and experiment with the others, but don't just make a, oh yeah, this is superior. It's, I mean, yes, I do consider Ravel superior, but it's like, as far as the actual encoding efficiency, the speed is not good compared to SVT. SVT, I can get that thing to near real time. It's not that difficult. But it's like, I can get X265 at that level, at better than real time, and with a cap of 3 megabit, it'll still look good. Alright, well, that was awkward. Hang on, let me just... Are we... Yes, we are. Now that... Yeah, just do that. Yeah, so computer crashed. Hard lock, no idea why. It's been a while since that's happened. Came up fine, though, so... Have relaunched Far Cry 3. Mainly I want to see... I shouldn't have lost much. In fact, I might not have lost anything, because the hunt should have triggered an autosave when it was done. But it's still, yeah, we're just going to see. I mean, how long... I was already going a decent length, though, so I probably won't go much longer. You know, like, just, let's check the save. Kind of thing at the moment. Oh, 12:02. I don't think that's 10 minutes ago, so I may have actually lost some stuff. I'm still not concerned, though. That would have been, at most, I would have lost the buffalo and need to do that again, at most. Okay, so I still have this. I'm in this spot. This is actually where I was trying to look for. Yeah, so it looks like all I lost was just the trying to run over here. So I'm just going to fast travel over here, going to change out the gun, buy up ammo. I have no idea, by the way, what it is I will need. But it's like I am... Oh, it didn't save that either. Okay. That's unfortunate. It's not a problem, but it is unfortunate. Wallet. There. Back here, ammo. Refill. Oh yeah, that's right. I actually wanted to see how this does. But for now we'll just do that. I'm just gonna step outside. Save it formally, and that's it. Yeah, I have no idea why. Unless it's just because sometimes the desktop doesn't like encoding, video encoding. It's very rare that OBS, the encoding of OBS does it. Yeah. But that's probably the reason why I have most of the encoding stuff I have the test system do. It's also just more convenient to have it on the other system. But now I'm just thinking, what all... I was talking about the differences with AV1 as an analogy for how, you know, with FSR and DLSS, you have to do the... You have to look at it. You have to actually investigate this stuff yourself, experiment, decide what it is, and then I was talking about how, you know, the different sources sometimes make a big difference as well. Yeah, I mean, it's like the Dark Knight, and this is with a quantizer of 100, which is the default, and it's actually going to be pretty good. Like, what movies I've done that at and watched, I've not seen anything to annoy me, to bother me. So it, at 2.3 megabit right now, that's below the 3 megabit limit I would set with 265. And if we do assume that AV1 is more efficient, that, you know, it's not just 265 would be able to drop down this far. If we don't assume that, and to be honest, that's not always the case. I've definitely seen plenty of times where, no, it goes straight up to the 3 megabit. It's like, this is working out better. It is going to be smaller, which for some of these movies, that's what I would prefer. It is, where it's like, I don't need the best of image quality, which I'd actually go to 265 for various reasons. It's a bit better at fine detail than AV1. In some circumstances, but it's like, no, I want on there, I want a good size, I'll do that. But it's also, if it's managing to get that small at 100 is still pretty detailed, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, so the whole the whole thing with people saying, oh, AMD's doing, I'm just, no. And it's not a defense of AMD, it's just, as I said in the original video before the crash, I think it's just... I think it's just that the premise to it is based on faulty logic, that you're ignoring. I would say FSR provides better value, even if it is less image quality than DLSS. But they're very close. Now, true, I'm testing at 1920 by 1080, which is in some ways not good, because you're not... But at 4K, there's so much more detail. Yeah, but it's also 1920 by 1080. That means there's a lot less that both technologies have to work from when upscaling. So it's actually also a worst case scenario for the technology. So it's not completely just ignored because it's 1080. So it really is, it is complicated. And I'm tired, so I kind of lost my train of thought. I know I was saying that specifically for a reason. Oh yeah, that's right. That if you can get it to like 90%, 95% even, which in The Witcher 3, I think that they're closer than that even, between the two. But it's like, yeah, this will work on AMD GPUs going back many years, NVIDIA GPUs going back not as far, but still several years. Then why would you bother with DLSS? I mean, it's like you put that in first, you put in FSR first, why would you bother with DLSS? Where is the added value there, short of NVIDIA writing you a check kind of thing? I mean, I feel that question is important to this whole, I'm going to say made up controversy. That it is when you actually do look at that, it's DLSS is not adding value, does not bring value in. FSR does because of the wide ecosystem of hardware it supports or is supported by. So it is just, I consider the premise false. If AMD is doing underhanded stuff to try to get them to only use FSR, that is a problem. I would have a problem with that, just as I have a problem with NVIDIA doing stuff like that, and they have been doing that for many years. I don't know how active they are at the moment. But look up, if you don't believe me, look up Batman Arkham Asylum MSAA. Seriously, look that up. That's one of those clear examples where NVIDIA they didn't force, but they offered a technology, but demanded AMD, well, at the time it was ATI still, ATI branding, but demanded that their GPUs be on a blacklist. And it was straight up a blacklist. It wasn't a whitelist of NVIDIA GPUs. It was, if AMD, if this GPU name is detected, do not do this. It really was a thoroughly inappropriate and unethical thing to do, thoroughly anti-consumer. So it's like NVIDIA has this in their past, and I do not doubt that they're still doing it. I just don't know of specific examples today. And it's like, if AMD is doing stuff like that, shame on them, and they should stop, and I want them to stop. But that is not necessarily what is going on here. There is also another reasonable, logical explanation that I've tried to give, so, yeah. I think that's it. We'll probably just see you next week. Continuing in Far Cry 3, continuing to do this. I don't, how long did I go earlier? I could probably have gotten, like, oh, yeah, that's right. The file's corrupted. At least that one is. Let me look at this one. 45 minutes. I could have done maybe one or two more Trial of the Rock yet. I don't know how many I'd already done. I feel like 3 or 4. So I might have been able to get that 5th one in today, but it'll just have to be next week, assuming that something doesn't come up to distract me from it. All right. Yeah, so there is some stuff. Yeah, amusingly, I want to do some recordings this weekend that may delay my work on The Witcher 3, but if the desktop's a little unhappy, maybe I'll put that off. And continue working on The Witcher 3 performance analysis. That'll probably still be like 2 weeks. Because I have to go through all the GPU sections, and GPU sections are hard to write. Because it's such... I enjoy writing them. I enjoy going through that, but there is a lot to go through because I use so much data and so many graphs. And it gets kind of repetitive, but it is... I'm looking forward to getting that done so that it can be shared. And there's some interesting results in there too. Very interesting, actually. Yeah. I'm also looking forward to when I'll do the recording for the frame time analysis. Because it's also, I've already written up most of the stuff I would be talking about in there, so I'll be a bit more intelligent instead of just rambling as I go through it and discover, oh yeah, this is interesting. It's like, no, I know specific points to talk about. Yeah, actually, I'll just share that, because I did talk about it with Vega 64. The Vega 64 was more competitive with the RTX 2080 in The Witcher 3 for me than, well, for certain statistics, than it is with GPUs of its same class, the 1070, 1080, and 2060. Because the x64 was phenomenally stable compared to all of them. Like, only 2080 was on that level, and even if the 2080 was beating it on performance, there was still spots where it's like, no, the x64 was slower, but it was more stable. So it is one of those weird things where, as much as Vega was insulted, it also really managed to achieve a good design. It really does have a good design that continues to serve it. It's just kind of a shame that you couldn't have that experience when it came out, and also that it took as much power as it did. But hey, I mean, I'm sure for AMD it was a learning experience, and they definitely learned various things. Better work with HBM, even though they're not using that so much at the moment. Although I would not be surprised if some of the work with Vega and Fiji, right? No. The Fury card before it, was that Fiji? I don't remember, but the first, where it was HBM 1, Vega used HBM 2. I can believe that both the work there has helped them with the chiplet stuff for the GPUs. For the current GPUs with the MCDs. Not completely. I will acknowledge that. Well, even just the packaging. The help with the packaging could be useful. Like, figuring out how to get all the dies onto a single thing. So, I mean, yeah, it may not be considered a giant by some, but it is something that I think you could say in architecture. I think you could say that today AMD Radeon is standing on the shoulders of. I think that argument could be made. Just probably not by me, because I don't know enough. But there are people that do, and maybe they could. Anyway. So yeah, I'll just see you next time. Have a good weekend.